You're not good enough. You don't deserve more. It'll always be this way. Who do you think you are? There's this voice that a lot of people carry. And most of the time people call it an inner critic, you being hard on yourself, a character flaw, something to manage or push through, or positive self-talk over. But what if I told you that this voice is a fragmented part of your soul self that was only trying to support you? What if it was just trying to keep you safe? What if that voice isn't your enemy at all? Let's talk about what it is and why it's there and why that voice tends to show up every time you are attempting to change something in your life. Something that is set, an energetic set point, if you will. And every time you try to change your frequency, you attempt to change significant things in your life, you attempt to go after what you really want, this voice comes up. So most of you think that voice is your inner critic, a flaw, something broken inside of you that just won't let you be happy. And I've heard plenty of times clients say, like, I just want to love myself. Like, why can't I love myself? Why can't I just get over it? And this blame, this self-blame and self-shame of trying to push and love and light yourself through this voice further expands the energetic set point of the core belief that there is something wrong with you and that you are not enough and that you are something that needs to be fixed or managed. And I'm here to tell you that that's not true. That voice is simply a fragment of yourself that got distorted by the things that you experienced. Oftentimes, this fragment is the wounded inner child that was crystallized at a set point of frequency and has been broadcasting that same frequency and set of beliefs ever since these events or event. And when I say event, people often say that event was like a traumatic event. Sometimes it is not something that is outwardly acknowledged as trauma. Maybe it was an ordinary day where nothing much happened. But this thing, this event, set in motion an energetic understanding of the world and yourself and your place in it. And from that point on, it has been reverberating and controlling every aspect of your life. This is the wounded inner child. So early on, this space learned that wanting more is dangerous, having needs is dangerous, being seen is dangerous, and being too much came with consequences, and love always has conditions. So the space adapted. It shifted frequencies and it said, okay, I will never be too much. I will make myself small and I will make sure I am palatable so I can be loved, so I can be accepted. And so I can control everything around us. I will make everything around us okay. You won't be fulfilled. You won't have expression, but it'll be okay. And people will accept us. And we will be loved. And I will do anything to get that love. I'll do anything to make sure that you get that love. I will meet the conditions. And this voice is usually set in place by 3 or 4. Okay? So by 3 or 4, You've recognized that love is conditional. Don't be too much. And you know what conditions will meet that conditional love out there. And this space is frozen and crystallized within, and this is where the somatic work comes in. This space is crystallized within you. And that's why so many of you disassociate. That's why so many of you remove yourselves from your body, okay? Because this voice is in pain. It is wounded. It is hurt. And it was never supported enough to recognize this reality that it decided that it was going to live in, and that you were going to live in from now on too. Right? Because this space has 3-year-old reasoning now. This voice will take on whoever it needs to survive. So maybe it starts to sound like your mother. Maybe it starts to sound like your father. Maybe it starts to sound like what they wanted to hear for you to receive love and acceptance and care. Because you know exactly what they wanted. Parents lay out their conditions consistently all the time. Their conditions are right there. Be quiet, sit down, turn the TV down, don't play with the loud toy. And look, I get it as someone who loves like some quiet and calm of not wanting to hear the loud toy all the time. But geez, sometimes let the kids play with the little poppers, okay? Let them play with the little vacuum. Why did that vacuum? Anybody from the 90s remember that little toy that like was a push thing and had a bunch of balls in it? It just like popped and it was like a vacuum or something. I don't know. There are some random sound making toys that are just like, as an adult. But as a kid, those things are fun and you should be able to play with them. But think about that. You're in your most joyful, playful, fun, like playing with this brightly colored, loud toy, and suddenly someone is yelling at you and angry and it's confusing. And the only thing that you recognize is, I was being joyful and I was too much. And so you take that in. And you say, okay, my joy is too much. And now you have the conditions, and those conditions are reverberating throughout your life in all these different circumstances that you think that they don't have any, that they don't come into, that you think they never come into play. But then you pick significant others that are angry at you every time you're having a good time. Or you pick friends who are kind of preying on your downfall or they're kind of jealous. And then you start to realize that you're living out this people pleaser pattern because you became the person who met the conditions. You said, I will meet any condition to receive love, to receive acceptance. Not full acceptance, because you'll never be fully accepted because you're not even being yourself. You're not even being you. How could you be accepted? You're not. It's fake. It's not real. But here you are being unfulfilled, trying to fulfill other people and failing because you're not even being yourself. And so you're not even around people that accept you. They don't know you. Anyway, so these wounded fragments absorb and become the voices of the people who would tamp down on your own expression of who you are. And that's the voice you live with. So then the voices in your head become all these people outside of you telling you who you need to be and how you need to act and how you need to present and what you need to do for them. And now you are enacting this energetic set point for these people, and they don't even have to do anything. You did it for them. So the thing about this is that this voice isn't just in your head, it's in your body. You will feel sometimes like heaviness or a pit in your stomach or pain in your hip. These different places where that energy gets stuck in your body and you won't even recognize what's there because you think it's just muscle tension and tightness. But these tensions and these patterns of holding and these patterns of the way that you carry yourself in the world are the energetic expression of the inner child, the wounded inner child, and of what you are becoming now, energetically, what you have chosen to be, the conditions you've chosen to meet. Some people choose to meet to the conditional conditions of the love that they want to receive, and some people rise to meet the conditions of who they want to become. And there's a gap there. These are two different ways of being. Oftentimes, when you feel like you're responding out there in the world to someone with this sense of needing to get their love, needing to get their acceptance, needing to get their approval, you will feel a tightening. You'll almost feel sick. You'll feel like shrinking or small. And that is the wounded part of you broadcasting the frequency through your body, through your field. And so right now in this moment, as I'm talking about this, you may even feel something in your body that you haven't felt before, or that you've always felt, but it feels stronger right now as you're talking about it, and you're like, I don't like that. And that's okay. What do you do, though, when you start to feel that feeling? That old familiar feeling of something being off or not right, or something feeling just like you can't breathe, or you're choking, right? What do you do? Because that will point to your medicine. What you do when you find yourself in discomfort will point to the medicine that you need personally. And that's how I work with my people. So look at that, and that will show you a doorway that maybe you haven't seen before. So when you start with your body, because again, this voice, it lives within. It's not out here. It's probably not even, and it might be a little bit up here, but like, it's not out here. You have gathered it up and put it inside of here, and now you're living out that energy as if it were your own. When you start with the energy in your body, insight and revelation comes from the bottom up. It feels like it's flowing. And it's all at once. You don't think, you simply understand. And that's why it's so difficult to talk about somatic healing and energy work and all these things, because it's a thing that you feel and experience. It's not something you talk about and then you understand. It's experiential. You have to go through it to understand it. And that's why I pointed to, as I'm talking about this wounded inner child, this voice that will do anything to accept the love, anything to get to meet the conditions, to accept the love that is outside of you, that really is inside of you, and that you need to be meeting your own conditions for the love that you want to be and express in the world. As I'm seeing that, you may notice something, and that is where the work starts. That is where you should look. And if you have a difficult time with that, my links are in the description below if you need a little help, okay? Most people don't recognize that the louder that voice gets, the closer you are to something. That voice gets super loud when you are making changes that it finds unsafe and uncomfortable. Unsafe and uncomfortable do not mean bad. Sometimes they just mean, I don't know what that is. I don't know what's over there. What? See my hand? Move across the screen over here. You don't know what's over here. You only know what's here. And so shifting towards something you cannot see and you have not experienced in your life is going to make that voice go feral. The pattern, or some would say the cycle, the energetic cycle will get the loudest and will fight the hardest right before it loses its grip. When people talk about healing crisis, this is a part of it. That wounded fragment will get so loud because it can sense the change. It can sense the shift. And it doesn't want to change because it's safe where it is. It's safe in its box. It's safe being small. It wants to be small because it wants to continue to meet the conditions out there. It doesn't want to meet these conditions because that's a new way of being. That's a new way of existing in the world. That's a new way of showing up in the world. It don't want to do that. And oftentimes change has felt bad. Change has meant something bad. Change has meant that maybe someone wasn't in our life anymore. Or that you moved schools and you didn't have certain friends anymore. That, your parents' job changed and all of a sudden you weren't getting Christmas presents anymore. Or oftentimes the changes that we notice in life are the ones that shake things up in a way that doesn't feel good. And we downplay the significance of changes that are positive and have good outcomes because nothing bad happened. And we are way more likely to pay attention to the things that negatively affect us than we are to the things that positively affect us. So what happens is, as you are hearing this voice and maybe you're making a shift in your life, maybe things are changing and this voice is getting louder and louder and louder, the thing is that you're often standing at a choice point, a place where you can choose to continue to meet the conditions, accept this love, accept these conditional people in your life, or you can choose to be unconditionally loving to yourself and accept your own conditionality, your own love, your own space of being, which will open you up to people who accept you too. And this choice might be a small one. This is kind of something that comes up every time I have sessions and I start out with someone and I say, hey, you're going to be served with an opportunity, a choice, a decision. Could be small, could be big. I don't know. I can't tell you what it's going to be. And this choice rises to meet you and says, do you really want what you say you want? And in that space of choice, you can contract back to where you've been, or you can expand towards something different, something that maybe you haven't seen before. So something I really want to be clear about is we're not here to push the voice down. That voice is saying you're not enough. That is coming from within. That is coming. You have accepted that inside of you. And now it's time to excavate that and say, what? Why would I think that about myself? Why would I say that about me? Why do I think I don't deserve kindness, reciprocity, support? Why would I think that? I run around giving it to everybody else. I run around showing up for everybody else. Why do I think I don't deserve the same for me? It's when we really start to excavate and feel into that this can begin to actually shift. But if you override it and you say, that's not true, it's okay, you'll be fine, you are dismissing yourself the way that other people dismissed you. And you're not giving your wounded inner child the space to show up and exist in her wounded self as she is. She is a part of you. And if she is coming up, she deserves to be heard, seen, understood. And you deserve to meet yourself in that same place, regardless of what anyone out there has said to you. This space saying, you're not enough, you don't deserve this, you are not worthy, you're not enough. That voice is there for a reason, and it's doing its job. And the moment you stop fighting it and begin to open up and say, I hear you, what's going on? Is the moment where you can actually begin to change. Because if you can't see it, you can't change it. I don't care what anybody says. If you can't see it, it will continue to sabotage every single little change that you try to make because you're ignoring it and avoiding it. And that's avoiding your shadow work. So that's the place to start. And sometimes the start is just, why do I think that? Did I hear that from somewhere? Well, if no one said that to me, why do I think that? Was it implied somewhere? Because sometimes we get caught up in the world of trauma work and we think it has to be this major event, this major thing that happened, this traumatic situation, and then we don't understand why we feel this way. And some things are implied and some things are subvert and heavily implied, but you're a kid, so you don't recognize that. And I point back to being a kid and not recognizing that, because all of us have been children, and oftentimes a lot of these things get set at that point in time. And when I point back to that, a lot of these beliefs and thoughts and energies get set at that point in time, and then we don't recognize that it's affecting us, and we think I don't feel anything about that. You're disconnected from your body. You probably don't know what you feel. You probably don't even recognize that pain in the left side of your neck right now. Like, recognize and get curious about you deeply. And I'm sure you will start to understand and feel and notice that that voice has a reason to be there. And if you continue to dismiss its reason and dismiss it, you are avoiding it and you are bypassing. Okay, I think in the space of when we're talking about bypassing and shadow work and all that stuff, no one ever says what they mean. That's what I mean. If you dismiss the negative self-talk as like, oh, I don't know why I feel that way. I should never feel that way. That's the, love and light, love and light, love and light. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. I'm fine. Like, if you keep doing that, that's bypassing. You are bypassing your internal voice that is trying to say, I'm hurting. I'm hurting. Will you hear me now? I'm hurting. Will you hear me now? That is what it's literally saying to you over and over and over again. And until you look at it, it will forever sabotage everything that you try to do, because it's still there, playing out all the same patterns energetically over and over again. Anyway, yeah, that's all. I'm done. Listen to yourself. Okay, peace.